Apparently, adding friends stops the stream. Genuinely, didn't know that either. Absolute mess, ladies and gentlemen. But what I was going to say is that Scyther denied Smokey a P2 on Monday night. Genuinely, it's third time's the charm, am I right? And I've got to get Callum back in as well. So, I don't know whether the stream will stop. It might stop again. Sack us all. Sack us all, honestly. Callum has rejoined the party, so get an update on that in just a moment. Have you got the option, Callum? Oh. Everything that could possibly go wrong has gone wrong. Yeah. Alright. Thank you. I'll try. Yeah, and now this is the bit where I've got to think of more stuff to talk about as VSR Jack goes up into P2. And as you've all seen, VSR's roster now up to 4 members. They can include a 5th, as is the maximum. And yeah, VSR Jack will certainly be hoping to fly the flag for them this evening. VSR Nico is teammate down in P13 at the moment. Smokey the only one to have not set a lap time. Let's go on board with the McLaren driver as he goes into turn number 3, which has been widened by 4 meters since you saw it on the 2021 edition of the game. I can confirm I did enable party audio. I double checked, I triple checked. It was there. It usually is as a default setting on this account. So again, apologies, and I'll try and owe you something back in this race, and hopefully the race delivers in itself. Meanwhile, Smokey heading down the 1.3 kilometre backstretch now. Seems to never end. A couple of blind corners. The wall's very close on the inside and outside. And a bit of a risk in itself to overtake there in the wet through turn number 10 now turn number 11, which has become a bit of a braking zone. If you remember back to the pre-season race, which was on the release day of the game, I think we saw Matthew have a lunge down there and it didn't quite go to plan. Meanwhile, Smokey works his way through the final sector of the track, which is still notoriously difficult to overtake on. 26.4 is the time to beat. Smokey crosses the line. It's a 1 minute 26.650 for WOR Smokey. He goes P2 a long way ahead of VSR Jack at the moment, as unsurprisingly FR8 Elite leads the way to create more history in the inaugural WOR Legacy Division event. A great thing it would be for him to be the first name on the winners list. To turn 13 then. And back into the pit lane. He was improving on that lap, so I was giving it full beans, I'd say. Perhaps just preparing for his final run in this session. I don't think he'll have to go again. Remember, intermediate tyres are a lot more limited compared to if it will be a dry qualifying. I've also heard, do correct me if I'm wrong, the race is going to have a very, very similar outlook to this. BLX Quantum, who's been really impressing in Tier 2 so far. He finished P7 back on that release day race, albeit there was 11 DNFs to finish first. First you have to finish. VLX Quantum 12th at the moment then. That was an invalid lap, as it is with ET Passy. PSR Nick 2.5 tenths down at the moment. FGE Halo not pushing as well. WR Wilson is though, rounding the final corner in the WR McLaren, as you'll see for the remainder of this season. Wilson crosses the line, goes P4, and that should see both WR drivers comfortably through at this stage. But again, VSR Jack and LCR Leopards disrupting proceedings at the moment. That's a competitive time from LCR Leopard. 26.690 puts himself 4/100ths of a second behind WOR Smokey. Out in the first session, I believe we lost... I think we lost ETE Julian as one of them. I think we lost... Well, obviously, AMS Max isn't racing, so that takes out 2. Shizu Lachi, if I said that right, that's a 3rd. So I'm having to work this out by pure guess. VLX Jack, the 4th. And... Ooh. Yes, there's 4. Of course, there's 4. Silly me. There's... Yes, a few minutes to go in this session. We'll see another 5 drivers knocked out, and then the top 10 shootout for pole. WOR Smokey still out there at the moment, just trailing his teammate on the track. WOR Wilson, who has pulled into the pit lane, but Smokey stays out. He's going to try and pip elite to the top of the timesheets here in Q2. Smokey crosses the line almost by 7/1000ths of a second. He misses out, but he will know and he'll be glad that he is matching FRA Elite for pace in this second part of qualifying. ERL Blackie invalid at the moment. ERL Aiden H that claimed a cheeky purple middle sector. I wonder if that's true as he trails the Ferrari there. Or VSR Nico is on an outlap, so he really should be getting out of the way. Penalties can get issued for blocking. Grid penalties to be specific. Round in the final corner comes ERL Aiden H. Big lap. Can he get himself into the top 10? FRA Pisty is on the bubble at the moment. Aiden H crosses the line and goes P7 for ERL at the moment. ET Passy, couple seconds down. I don't think this is a push lap. VSR Nico is out there. He needs to get a lap in now, although he should have time to do 2 more. Maybe even a 3rd with the way the clock is running down. Through turn number 3 he goes. Nicely done. Through 4 where it seems like the track limits have been fixed. So was claimed, but personally I've still had a couple of issues through that one. Straightening the car up, not scrubbing up too much speed. Through turn 5, now 6, 7 and quickly onto 8. Careful on the throttle. It looked like he was fully committed through there. Next up is turn number 9. Also seen regarding track limits. Can't cut that so much anymore. Turn number 11. Using the sausage curb a bit. Turn number 12. Again, keeping in track limits. It's a 26.213 to beat now by FRA Elite. 26.3 by WOR Smokey. Can Nico join his teammate Jack up in that top 10 at the moment? As Aiden H crosses the line again to go 3rd fastest. Nico crosses the line. It's not good enough at the moment. He might use this one as a recharge lap and go again for one final run in this part of qualifying. PSR Nick is invalid at the moment. His teammate Scyther up in P7 and in the pit lane, and I don't think he'll have time to come back out. Though saying that, there is a Williams making their way down the pit lane, and I believe that will be Scyther. 1 minute 25 left on the clock. Quickest lap so far, just over a 1:26. Scyther has got to race to the line, heat up those intermediates in the process, so it can be a blessing in disguise. Halo crosses the line, sneaks into his top 10 at the expense of his teammate FGE Latifi. Blackie 2/10 down at the moment. VSR Nico 1 second down. PSR Nick has just crossed the line. Nearly a second down there also. Smokey crossing the line. He'll start his final run now. ERL Aiden H don't think is pushing at this moment in time. Slowly but surely we'll see the final lap times tumbling in. Let's go on board with VSR Jack. A lock up on the outside front as he tips the nose into turn 11. Next up is turn 12. He skates through 2 more corners to go then. Again, another lockup on the front left, but the car is complying with him. Gently turning into the final corner, using that outside curb. Wheel spinning on the outside curb. VSR Jack to the line. What can he do? He goes up to 4th at the moment. LCR Leopard a couple of tenths up, but I don't think he's actually crossed the first sector split line yet. Scyther, is he going to get his final lap in? Watch the clock tick down. If we can see it, that would be a massive help. The lights are still green. He's safe. He's going to get a lap in. But it's a big, big lap for him. He does not want to be knocked out. Oh, that was FRA Elite. Sideways, one of his main rivals for sure. Not only in the Legacy division, but across the world of Xbox League Racing. That's Smokey straight on at turn 11. Not ideal by any means, but it looks like he'll be safe. Unless somebody can cause a miracle upset here. ET Passy 8/100ths up at the moment. FG Latifi is knocked out of this session, as is VLX Quantum, who has invalidated again. Scyther now in P10. It only will take one driver to beat him, and him to balls up, should I say, the final sector of this lap for him to get knocked out. LCR Leopard then for Shizou crossing the line, a 1 minute 26.6, and FRA Elite gets into the 25s. That's the first lap into the 25s we've seen this evening. FRA Pisty very hesitant coming through turn 12. It's not looking like a great lap, but he should be safe up in P7 at the moment. VSR Jack will not be improving. ERL Aiden H to cross the line. P4 for him. He's really impressing in this wet qualifying so far. Comfortably in to Q3. Meanwhile, VSR Jack back into the pit lane then, and we just wait on Scyther, who crosses the line, goes into P2, and he got that lap in that he needed to. Comfortably in. We lose VSR Nico, we lose ETE Passy, ERL Blackie, FG Latifi, and VLX Quantum there as well. 5 teams getting knocked out of Q2. However, for Halo, sneaking in, that's a very, very good result for FGE. LCR Leopard, though, almost a Q1 and Q2 elimination for Shizou. If you've been keeping up, with the scene in general, you'll know that Shizou did miss out on the Paradox Series qualifiers, which is very similar in all due respect. But here is the top 10 then, folks, for qualifying 2. FRA Elite tops the session once more. Scyther in P2, Smokey in P3, and that is an identical top 3 to what we saw in Miami on Monday night. Is that a sign of things to come? The conditions very, very different as we move on in just a moment's time to qualifying 3. 2 Germans, Nick and Aiden H, 4th and 5th respectively. Wilson ahead of Pisty, ahead of Jack, ahead of Halo, ahead of Leopard. In a top 10 separated by just under 8 tenths. Don't worry, you've not got a repeat of the first live stream. Definitely a well-needed intermission. Just a question for the live chat. How do you make sprinting downstairs for a glass of water not look awkward? Yeah, I don't know either. PSR Nick is the first out in the first Q3 session of the Legacy division. Don't sprint. I was waiting for a response like that. Good answer. Outlaps on the go then. Got a big bundle of cars in that middle sector. The rear is FRA Elite. Certainly some pole time predictions are going to be required for this man, because he just keeps raising the bar every single time when it comes to these qualifying sessions. If you remember back to the Spain qualifiers, we were on the edge of our seat awaiting that 1 minute 15, was it? We'll quite be having that in Australia. Low 16s, of course. Completely doable. Meanwhile, first up, PSR Nick. Let's watch the PSR driver. Into turn number 1 then, using the curb as he widened ever so slightly. Oh, and that's loose coming off of turn 2. Manages to keep it in a straight line. Hugs the left-hand side of the track, straightens up the braking zone. Again, a double lockup, but those things often over-exaggerated by the Codemasters F1 game. Down one gear, quickly back up another as he skates across the curbs. At the moment, you just wonder what sort of setups these drivers have applied. A tinkered with dry, a bit of a hybrid just in case, you know, with the approximate weather forecast setting. Which does excite a lot of people when it comes to the unknown. Or complete out and out wet setup, because that will certainly help with the 1 lap pace in this qualifying session, as it looks to stay a greasy, miserable and soggy evening at Albert Park in Melbourne. To the final couple of corners again then for PSR Nick. Left before bringing it right, half throttle, and once he's straightened up he can full throttle, pedal to the metal, as we all know famously 1:26.7 is the time to beat. FG Halo, fittingly, is the next driver to cross the line. That's a 1 minute 26.3. We're seeing some very competitive lap times already as the track dries out ever so slightly with the intermediates shifting some of the water. FRA V Pisty, a 26.0. FRA Elite, a 25.9, as FRA hold the front row at the moment. Smokey, he was a real aggressor to FRA Elite in the second part of qualifying, does a 26.2. There's a bit of breathing room between the FRA duo and himself. VSR Jack is out there, a little bit out of sync. I think he's either had to go again, or did he just do his outlap later to everyone else? Must have missed that one personally. 30.1 is the first sector. Sadly, we're not seeing speeds of up to 70 kilometers an hour faster through turn number 6 because, well, sadly we're not in the dry conditions, but this circuit has become a driver's favourite. Very high speeds now, of course. Infamous turn 9-10. See plenty of mistakes through there. As I said earlier, 11 DNFs we had in that pre-season race. I think it's a lot less today. Obviously, the range of driver was a lot different on release day. It was basically whoever had the game and could do this invitational for the YouTube channel. That's the way I'll describe it as. But VSR Jack crossing the line then. P5 at the moment as LCR Leopard shocks the system. Shazoo to P1 with LCR Leopard. A fantastic lap by the German. A 25.890 to beat now. His teammate, who was knocked out in Q1, will be watching on in admiration, that's for sure. ERL Aiden H to cross the line then. Again, another strong lap as it just gets closer and closer as the drivers adapt to these changing track conditions. P6, as I say then, for ERL Aiden H. Wilson then, as we've been enjoying this lap, as I do with the issues we face, just responded to 1 or 2 queries. Into turn number 13 then for WOR Wilson. He's making his way back into the pit lane, as have indeed most of the field. H running a bit wide there, but safely back into the pit lane. WOR Smokey is continuing though. He's charged his battery. He's going again. We'll start to see that deployment kick in at the bottom on the telemetry if you're not familiar with that. See a lap that was up to 20 seconds slower there. This is one that will count for WOR Smokey, and he's invalid at the second corner. So easy to do. The white line is the definite limit for that corner. This will be back onto recharge. As you can see the battery percentage going up then as we speak. Once again, it's PSR Nick first out there. He set the first lap in this session. Will set the first of the final runs in qualifying 3. Let's cut back to Smokey then, because will he have time to go back into the pit lane, maybe gamble on a slightly fresher set of inters? Imagine the drivers have perhaps used all of them that are available, but Smokey is carrying on. He's committed. A couple of non-push laps will have certainly helped the tyre wear. Let's watch him again. Will he make the same mistake that he did on the previous run? 5th gear. Certainly see he aims for that inside curb. So naturally that brings you onto a nice racing line where he avoids the invalidation through turn number 3. Flicks left into 4, a short shift into 5th. No sausage curb on the outside there to catch you out. It is a little bit of a skate park. I've certainly heard some drivers refer to it as. No longer the case, of course. Purple in the first sector though for WOR Smokey. And just over a 10th up still. It's going to be enough. As it stands though, FRA Elite and LCR Leopard are out there at the moment and will be looking to respond to whatever lap time Smokey puts in here. Into turn 11. Nicely does it, kicks up a little bit of grass, but that does shorten the distance into turn 12. And again, nicely over the curb, not invalidating. Turn number 13 then, one more to go. So cautious on the throttle. I love admiring the throttle traces of the drivers, especially in these wet conditions. Smokey to the line then. Can he go on to provisional pole? Yes, he can. Beats his own personal best by 2.5 tenths. LCR Leopard, though, he's in the middle sector now. FRA Elite just in front, 1.5 seconds down, though he will have time to go again. Purple in the middle sector for LCR Leopard. That's his pole rival in front of him. FRA Elite will need to get out of the way, as Leopard is absolutely flying here. Down to 2nd gear to get the car slowed down. Wheel spinning up through 4th, up through 5th. Again, just a small correction, but often you've got to be absolutely on the limit in these wet weather conditions. Round in the final corner, not using that outside curb. The traction was good. It's strong. It's a brilliant lap by LCR Leopard. He goes quickest now with a 1:25.523. Smokey, think that's going to be game over for him in terms of pole, though he could be able to get round again. Pisty has invalidated at the first opportunity. FRA Elite out there at the moment in P6. Needs a big lap here. Needs an improvement of up to 4 tenths. That's just how good LCR Leopard's lap was. Wilson into the first corner. Aiden H will start P10 in this race. That Q2 effort did look really strong, but he just wasn't able to back it up in qualifying 3 as he turns his attention to the race now. Who have we got then? Who's first? Bring it on. PSR Nick through turn number 12. It looks like he's down on his lap time, sadly, so I don't think this one will count. Though with 15 seconds to go, he'll be able to go again. So let's turn our attention to FRA Elite, the Welshman. Into turn 11 he goes. We keep seeing those little lockups, but again, I believe it's heavily exaggerated by the game. These drivers probably are driving perfectly and don't feel a single mistake in their laps, though on Twitter they like to tell us 5 tenths here and there, 5 tenths here, 5 tenths there. FRA Elite needs 5 tenths and smashes it by 8 tenths, 5 tenths in fact, to LCR Leopard. What a lap that is. VSR Jack, oh, he's wide and he's pulling into the pit lane. The P3 man, will he be beaten by Scyther, who needs 2 thousandths to do just that? He goes up into P3, 21 thousandths was his improvement, and he does just enough to get into P3. WOR Smokey still out there, still pushing. Pisty back in the pit lane. WOR Wilson crosses the line, it's not enough. He did not improve on that lap. Definitely a mistake somewhere, which we didn't quite catch. Smokey, though, over 3 tenths up. He keeps improving on every single lap. So it might not be enough for pole, unless there's another 3 tenths in this sector. He can hold his head up high going into this Australian Grand Prix and the inaugural Legacy Division race as WOR Smokey crosses the line. Is it going to be enough for pole? It's not, but it's enough for the front row. What a fantastic lap by WOR Smokey to slot into P2, but once again, nobody is any match for FRA Elite, who qualifies on pole. 3 in a row in Tier 1, and of course, 3 in a row in terms of race wins as well. So is it a sign of things to come as the top 10 is official? Elite, Smokey, Leopard, Scyther and Jack, Americans, in 4th and 5th respectively. Pisty, Nick, Halo, Wilson and Aiden round out that top 10. Well, contrary to what I was told, the skies are an awful lot sunnier. Welcome to the WOR Legacy Division. Perhaps not as you expected it this evening, but at least you've got a race on your screens. Am I right in saying that? Usually, I think you'll have an advert ran at this point, so I did just want to say thanks and promote our partners for this season in Grid Finder and Next Level Racing. Please do go check them out on social media. You'll find them in a lot of the WOR content as well. Oscar Mandoc says, just a reminder to everyone, remember to hydrate. Yeah, I certainly need to do that. Certainly the drivers, after nearly an hour of qualifying, they'll have another hour or so almost of racing. Of course, depends on safety cars, what the weather is going to stir up. And just as a reminder, we will be going straight in here. No formation lap due to the issues that have been recurring regarding the formation lap. So we'll be avoiding that one this evening. Not long to go now. Sorry to keep you waiting, and again, I'm very, very, very sorry. For yeah, I don't want to explain it in depth too much on this live stream. Of course, you guys can chase things up yourself. I won't force you, of course, but it's to be moved on from. That's for sure. But at any moment, it will be 5 red lights ahead of us. Get on the race director and take a look at the tyres at all. I thought for a second that even wasn't going to happen, but again, a lot more hard tyres being used. It was more commonly mediums when we raced here back on day 1, but you can sort of see how the strategy has evolved over time to more drivers taking the longer first stint. Of course, safety car windows could change everything. We could see a completely out of the ordinary winner this evening. We do have some serial winners on the grid from slightly lower down the WOR ranks, and of course other tournaments. I think the Legacy division is just proud to be one of those tournaments in the scene. And another reason why these teams are signing a lot of drivers, whether they need to use them across multiple tournaments, as we see. But 25 seconds to go, I'm pleased to say, until the very start of the WOR Legacy Division. You've all waited for it, perhaps not the way you expected it to happen, but it's happening anyway. It's an official race. 25 points for the winner this evening in traditional Formula 1 World Championship style. It's a venue which has hosted so many Formula 1 season openers. We're back. Welcome to Albert Park. 5 red lights on ahead of the drivers. And out, we're underway, and FRA Elite points to the right-hand side to try and cover off WOR Smokey, but he'll keep the lead into turn 1. Smokey trundles down the order. He's already down into P6, and everyone in front of him is on the hard tyres as well. So it's an absolute nightmare start for WOR Smokey. Pisty up into P5 then, who's trying to get past VSR Jack in his pursuit. and he's re-gunnering of his teammate FRA Elite, who leads the way ahead of Leopard Scyther, and then these two, VSR Jack and FRA Pisty, wheel to wheel into the 5th corner, squeezing him right up to the yellow line, the boundary of the track, of course. Wheel to wheel still into turn 6. This is separating the two trains already. What a fight on the opening lap as PSR Nick looks to get involved, as he looks to aid Scyther in this race. Again, both PSR drivers on the same strategy. Here comes Smokey trying to regain his lost ground. P7 at the moment. Can he make it P6 around the outside? He tries, he holds it. What a move that is from WOR Smokey, but he pushes PSR Nick into the gravel. What is it a great move after all, as Wilson gets pinched. It was almost 4 abreast into turn 10, now into turn 11. Who's that on the outside? I believe it was ERL Blackie, who's gone straight on, and there's a spin for one of the Alpine ETE cars. It's ETE Passy. I believe he tangled with Hero, and look at this at the back. It's just a mess as Hero, Jack and Passy get involved there. Passy a good 4 seconds off the back of the pack as FR8 Elite leads the way by almost 0.8 of a second. The yellow flag, and that is FGE Latifi. He's onto the grass, he's cutting turn number 2. A disaster class for FGE Latifi. It was taken WOR Tier 3 by storm. The leader in the championship, 3 podiums to his name in the first 3 rounds. Show ERS. Yeah, I'm very sorry about that. That was always going to be a lap 2 or 3 thing as DRS comes into play on the next lap. But yeah, as I was saying, FG Latifi, ETE Passy 1-2 at the moment in the Tier 3 championship, separated by just 2 points. Scoring the exact same results on the way, of course in a different order. Just the sprint race is all that separates them on points at the moment. So yeah, sad to see the Tier 3 boys at the back. And this Twitch stream certainly reminding me of the Tier 3 days, which I covered for 2 seasons. Fantastic time that was. As the fastest laps are exchanged, we've got a crash. We've got our first crash of the evening. It's FGE Halo, and that is going to bring out the first safety car of the season. FGE Halo, who was running in such a strong position. It was going to be the only hope, it seemed, for some points. Has crashed out at the final corner. So easy to do. The 14th and final corner, a very demanding one in terms of its nature. Its throttle control always promotes a spin or 2 like that. I'm very sorry, it's a virtual safety car. I've just seen on one of the digital boards. I was wondering why they were pushing a little bit harder than expected, but DRS straight open for these guys. PSR Nick on the inside of WR Wilson, bit of contact, but Nick is going to commit to the inside at turn number 11. It's a fantastic move, but can Wilson switch back? Here Aiden H was having a look, but it had to back out from it. A great switch back, in fact, by WR Wilson. Are we going to see a lunge into the penultimate corner? Not quite. But DRS now in play, of course. We're going to be seeing a lot more overtake. Initially 4 DRS zones around this circuit, though sadly, is the general consensus of many people. The one between turn 8 and 9 was removed. So still 3 DRS zones in its traditional places. Team Shazoo in the live chat, I do agree, this battling is class. Long may it continue for the rest of the 29 laps here at 50% distance. As you can see, no rear wings open. And this 1.3 kilometre flat out stretch of track. And will we see any rain in the air? That will certainly disrupt the pit strategies. Maybe that's why we've seen So many opt for the hards and a few for the mediums as well. Risk versus reward situation massively. How does the point structure work in Legacy this season? I do believe it is just normal points. As you would see in across the rest of WOR, just so that aligns, basically. But yes, Elite has broken DRS. 1.2 seconds is the gap. So either following Leopard closely in P3. VSR Jack 4.6 seconds behind. And that will have a lot to do with that first lap battle. Will we see a lunge here? Wilson was close, not close enough to the back of Pisty. Watch Scyther then, as Leopard will desperately be trying to get back into DRS. As you can see, he's straight onto the battery, down to 24%. It's not looking too healthy for Scyther, down to 1%, 2%. That is sort of the strategy on this year's game. Just use as much as you can, as early as you can, and just separate yourself from VSR Jack, who in comparison is used a lot less. 50% battery to his name. Bit wide there for WOR Smokey. Had to correct and might have taken a warning for exceeding track limits. The only penalty so far this evening going to Julian, as we've got a spin. Might have two spins at the back there, but no, I think it is just ERL Blackie caught out by the exit of turn number 10. So easily done. But ERL Blackie has work to do. Aiden in a strong P9. The leader of the medium runners. We've had one DNF so far. If you're just joining us, FG Halo F1 crashed on the exit of the final corner. Pushing to the absolute max is Scyther. Represented, of course, by his battery. Down to 6% at the moment. As to back Elite ERS. And it's a completely different story. Over 75% as he rounds the final corner. You could dump all of that if you wanted and gain an extra 2 seconds. You see, I think people at the moment... I think he's taking the mick a little bit. With just how ridiculous his standards are. Teammate V Pisty down in P6 in this DRS train, led at the moment by VSR Jack, who is completely free to do whatever he wants in this race. But LCR Leopard, a big 3-second penalty up in P2 at the moment. Should a safety car come out and drivers avoid penalties, he'll be tumbling right down the order as it stands. Not ideal by any means, as Jack down to 25% on the battery as he just tries to maintain his track position. That would be very important for essentially first dibs come any rapid change in strategy. A stat to throw in around Albert Park, 11th is the lowest grid position a driver's ever won from in the world of F1. At the moment, it looks like a confident, commanding, clinical, lights to flag victory for Elite, but obviously everything is subject to change. But if anyone can mention a single mistake that has come out of the Welshman throughout the course of F1 22, I'll find you a fiver or something, because there is not many. There's not a lot that can go wrong with that guy. Scyther has now dropped out of DRS of LCR Leopard. So the top three separating. Not much action going on. Or is it really in this P4 Jack train? Proving very difficult to overtake at the moment, but PSR Nick is giving it some. As he closes on WOR Wilson. Again, no need to be committed, take a risk. And we've got another spinner, it's VLX Jack. Perhaps too much outside curb, too much wheel spin on it. And VLX Jack tumbles to 18th and the last placed runner in this race as he comes into the pit lane. He's going to take an early pit stop here. The barriers inside and outside a lot closer than they used to be. Jack into the pit lane, picking up a penalty, and I do believe this is going to screams retirement to me. Never mind, he does continue, to be fair to him, but yeah, certainly the pit entry looked a little bit careless, but good to see him back out on the track anyway. Still all to play for, as we'll have 20 to go when FRA Elite crosses the line. He's extended his lead gap to 1.8 seconds, still with just over 70% on the ERS. Not too much overtaking to report. Who will make the first move, not only on the racetrack, but when it comes to strategy as well. The undercut, very, very vital. Having that extra lap to warm up the tyres on the quicker compounds than your opponents will prove very, very vital this evening, especially in such a close-knit train like this. Got a bit of battling. I believe I missed it. VSR Nico ahead now of Shizu Lachi. The latter of the two drivers knocked out in Q1 this evening. Shizu need a lift at the moment. LCR Leopard is delivering that. 2.6 seconds ahead now of Scyther. Maybe he's hit a limit with the sustainability, really, of deploying that much battery so soon. So to drop off and try and save some now. That's wide for Shizu Lachi. Perhaps a warning to his name. Will all be checked for you in due course when we have a little bit of a respite, perhaps for the VSC or safety car. We've had one VSC this evening, again from the crash of Shizu. Sorry, not Shizu Halo, FGE Halo. As Smokey gets in front of Jack, that was perhaps the roll of the dice we needed to spice up this race. Notice that Scyther is struggling, 3 seconds now behind LCR Leopard. That takes him out of the penalty window he needs to be in. Still relatively early days, of course. Consider the fact that no major pit stops have occurred yet. The only one from VLX Jack, who's back out there. And we've got a fight at the back of the pack, and it's between Blackie and Hero. And that's Hero not in the session. Let me just double check if I need to invite him back. I'm not sure, but he is the lone AMS driver in this race. I'll invite him back anyway. That's Julian out in front of this pack, who has just made a mistake. Sorry about that, everyone. I can't view the gamer card. I can't do anything. So that will take more than just a moment to get him back in if possible. Yes, he is, and there's just a desync on that one. FRA Elite, 2.3 seconds out in front now. Smokey taking control of this train. 33% battery to his name. Similar to Jack, who was on around the 30% mark as well. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars in shot there. Just had to count very quickly. It tells the story, doesn't it? Penalty for Jack. 3 seconds for multiple warnings. So with his penalty situation, it looks like points are a mere dream for him and for VLX, who have Quantum running in P10. We've seen a lot from Quantum. We've also seen 27 points from him in the Tier 2 season so far. Make sure you are closely following along. If you're a fan of the Legacy Division, you'll be a fan of WOR's no assist tiers. I believe tiers 1 to 4 is on the YouTube nowadays. You'll also find a lot of Xbox content over on the Twitch as well. So make sure you are following here. E.T. Passy, 3-second time penalty. He's down in P13 at the moment. Aiden's now made his pit stop off of the medium tyres, as has Julian, who had that moment. And Aiden has crashed out. Saying that's on his outlap, and the safety car has been deployed. As you can see it exiting the pit lane this time. It's not a drill. We do have a safety car. Aiden crashing on his outlap as he was running in the points for ERL as it stood. Into the pits they go then. Medium tyres going on. That will, boringly, I want to say, see them through to the end of the race. All of the hard runners in. The medium runners will also be pitting as well for the opposite compound. That's our second retirement from the inaugural Legacy Division race. It does bring out the first safety car of the season as well. We saw a few in that pre-season race. More so towards the back end. Right slap bang in the middle of this one. With the medium and hard tyres will both easily cover the distance. I've seen everyone into the pits. We've seen everybody bunched up, of course. That is one of the benefits of this safety car. So hopefully, like the first lap, we'll see some proper battling again. Here's the state of play then. Elite Leopard side of the top three. Leopard though with that dangerous 3-second penalty. Not for anything he did on the racetrack, just where it could leave him in this race. Quantum with a penalty as well. Could see him outside the points. Especially if we just get a single file train to the end. A few seconds, could be 5-6 positions. Really all does depend on the restart lap. VLX Jack at the back of the pack, who's been given a lifeline. Penalty situation as it stands. Jack has been in to serve that penalty. Might I add. 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. No longer. So he's back onto 3 seconds. He's in line with some of those points challenging rivals, Passy, Julian, Blackie, who will all be look to make progress. They're on the hard tyres, so it'll be difficult for them. We'll have another lap behind this safety car. You are taking the piss. Oh my god. Put it on broadcast. I put it on broadcast. Oh no. Yeah, I might need to wish you a twit longer. Twit longer incoming. Yeah, it's not good when you think immersive is the default setting. It's not, is it? Should have changed that. Why am I on board in a funny camera? We're in this lap. Get ready, everyone. I'm sorry. I've just... oh, God. We're racing. The safety car is in. We're off. We're away. Hopefully, we don't require any sort of restart. Hopefully, these tyres are up to temperature because we are set for a very, very thrilling end to this race. It's a quick right-left then. Elite leads the way. He's stealing the show. He's 7/10 clear already. Scyther closing down LCR Leopard. He's late on the brakes. He's looking to get back through and to take control of P2. Smokey in P4 now has some freedom to try and attack. It was behind Jack for a period of time. Now no longer the case. Pisty in P6. Quantum up to P7. Nick, Wilson, Nico round off the points at the moment. And Lachie is an outsider. Position changes, 5 gain for both Nico and Lachie as they will shortly duel for the points positions here. Latifi picks up a 3-second penalty as well, but he's got past Shizu Lachie as we look down the order. I've gone the wrong way. Here he is. Looked like a move at turn 11. Sometimes difficult to get 2 cars through there with the nature of the apex. Quickly tightens up. It's a 3-meter width extension to that entry. Completely different story once you get... It's basically a 90-degree right-hander. VSR Nico, the latest to get a penalty. So as that stands, Shizu Lachi is going to be promoted up to P10. Perhaps even P9 due to the situation with Quantum. That would be a good comeback. However, Leopard needs to do what he did in the first stint. Extend a gap of up to 3 seconds. Scyther down to 35% on the battery. Leopard down to 40. Elite down to 40 as well. So he's used a lot more to try and break DRS straight away here. So we've had a very unorthodox evening of racing. DRS enabled then. 10 laps to go. Once again, are we going to see this DRS train? It does look as if it's going to be a bit more of an extended one. This Leopard holds the cards. Scyther, though, pushing. This is into within a tenth of the German. He opens the DRS, down to 10% on the battery. Let's hover his finger over the overtake button. Doing everything within his power to disrupt Leopard here. Try and force him into an error. Nine to go. Same story. Scyther behind Leopards. Another DRS zone here. Doesn't need to go for it unless he gets a penalty himself. By that point, will it be too late? Once again, cars appearing and disappearing. In the shot of the reprofiled turn 6. It's a sight to behold. Formula 1 cars at Australia. Just need the racing now to match. ETE Julian. Another penalty to his name as finally we're seeing a bit of racing. VLX Quantum to the inside on PSR Nick. He just squeezes him out there. Forced him to back out. No wrongdoings there, of course. But VLX Quantum dueling with another driver that has a 3-second penalty. Wilson down in P9 at the moment. He'll inherit those 2 positions back. Wilson has been going backwards since the safety car restart, but that is another penalty for Quantum. Here comes Nick again then on the overtake button. Quantum with a red light flashing. Surely it's going to see PSR Nick through here. Yes, it is. Bit of contact, front wing to rear bumper. And we have a yellow flag, and that's Pisty. No, it's not. It's Leopard. I saw Pisty's name change, and I thought, hang on a minute, what has happened to the FRA driver? Scrap all of that. Shizu's hope for points, a hope for a podium this evening. Scyther has forced the German into a mistake, just as I was saying a lap ago. And LCR Leopard has spun around here. Fortunately, he's able to continue, I believe, without a scratch. So he'll be pushing flat out to the end. So sad to see for Leopard, but once again, we're left with the same top 3 that finished the race in Miami on Monday night. Elite, Scyther, Smokey in that order. And in Miami, we saw a great duel on the final lap between Scyther and Smokey. I hope we see that again. Treat the audience. They deserve it after their immense pressure, their incredible persistence in watching us and sticking with us this evening. Immense pressure is what Scyther is under. Smokey, Jack, Pisty, all on his tail. Same podium in 2 of the last 3. See, I should watch more races, shouldn't I? There you go. Stats there in the live chat for you. He got up his sleeve. Smokey. Scyther has begun to save battery. Through slipstream the back of LCR Leopard and having DRS for a period of time. Now that is not the case. Elite 2.8 seconds up the road. Flying once again. I don't think he'll be able to repeat excuse me. The 10-second race winning margin that he did on Monday night. However, should they duel again? It's not out of the question. Six to go. Latchy penalty. Jack penalty. I think it's worth a look, this, as Jack has retired in the pit lane. That was for speeding in the pit lane, my bad. 9 seconds for Julian. Looks like game over for him in this race. 6 for Quantum. That will push him indefinitely outside of the points at the moment. 3 for PSR Nick, but he is saved by everybody outside of the points, excluding AMS Hero, who is not in the session, having a penalty. Separates the men from the boys, really. Sticking with track limits. Elite was notoriously bad for it, if you remember to his early emergence on the last game. Unbelievable won that pace. He just couldn't transfer it into a racing scenario. Now he's got the whole lot. And with 5 laps to go, I don't know many drivers to have taken 2 WOR wins in a week. Unless they've reserved a higher tier. As an example. As Elite might be doing it on the biggest scale yet. Latifi ahead of Nico. These two on the penalty situation. Latifi getting through there. A lot of red lights flashing this evening. Those drivers use all of their battery to stay in the train. It's starting to be a bit broken now, but Scyther is still the one under a mass amount of pressure. Smokey in 3rd, Jack 4th, Pisty 5th, Nick with the penalty in 6th. As Blackie picks up a time penalty. It's down in P14 at the moment. Is it the calm before the storm? Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 cars. All tussling. A higher position is P2 here. Smokey has the DRS open. Funny enough, has less ERS to play with at this moment in time than Scyther, who has done an excellent job, and I think, whilst giving in to Elite essentially, manage his race so he can secure what could be a very nice P2 here for PSR. His teammate in P6. Though with Elite and Pisty, that looks like a solid 35 points at the moment. Fastest lap at the moment has gone to Elite with a 6-second lap time. Yep. Sounds about right. Smokey looks. Perhaps for the first time we've seen WOR Smokey eye the inside under braking. It's crunch time for WOR Smokey. How badly does he want it? It's a nice exit. 3/10 is all that separates the two of them. Just a touch on the battery. As he gains. This is where he can really start saving ERS. Though Scyther is up to 80. He can use as much as he wants. On these final 2 laps, Smokey has a look, but he backs out. Doesn't fancy it. FG Latifi has spun out on the exit of turn 2. Think he's managed to recover. The penalty situation at the moment then is Nico and Leopard tussle here. Nico is forced out of that one, and in doing that, WOR tries to find the inside into turn number 6. Can't quite do it. Will he be able to have another go though? As let's go back to the fight between Smokey and Scyther. 38% on Smokey's battery. 50% on Scyther's battery. So you can see where he's used it to pull away from the WOR driver. Yellow flag in sector 3. I believe that's VSR Nico around. Again, might have been able to recover it, but loses the position to ETE Passy. Final lap. FRA Elite, the leader. Scyther in P2, Smokey in P3. Who's going to take P2? Will it be Smokey? Will it be Scyther? We said the same thing on Monday night. We're going to repeat it again this evening. Into turn 1, Scyther goes. It looks comfortable. He's got more ERS still than Smokey, but Smokey does have the advantage of DRS. Only have one more DRS zone to go between turn 10 and turn 11. A yellow flag as ETE Julian puts it into the pit lane and retires on the final lap of this race. He's using absolutely everything is Smokey, but as is Scyther. 0.6 the difference. I don't think it's going to be enough as we see a fight between Pisty and Nick. Nick gets around the outside. A great move there, but he does have that penalty, so Pisty will not be too distraught about that one. The WOR drivers do have the right to appeal with sufficient evidence. Into turn 12 goes Smokey, following Scyther as Elite rounds the final corner to take not 1 but 2 WOR victories in the space of a week, taking 25 points in the opening Legacy Division race as we see Scyther take P2. He looks ecstatic with that. His ERS management was spot on, even after criticising it in the opening stages of the race where he dropped behind Leopard by a few seconds. Leopard comes home to finish in P8, mind you. Smokey's on the podium. Jack 4th, Pisty 5th, has the top 5. A race of very mixed emotions. I've certainly been through it all this evening. I've had 2 different commentators and still ended up doing it on my own on the unpreferred platform. But well done to FRA Elite. It's a sight you're never going to stop seeing. Him walking out onto the podium, the top step, the winner, with that annoying ass steering wheel. I'm sorry, it had to be said. There's the winner's trophy once more for FRA Elite. Results are in. Provisional, of course. Stay tuned to the WOR socials for that one. Elite P1, Scyther P2, Smokey P3. The classic top three. Jack, Pisty, Nick, Wilson, Leopard, Quantum and Latchy round off the points. Points in the end for Shazoo, 5 of them. At least they're off the mark. Quantum taking 2 points for VLX. And that is where we'll leave you. Again, thank you so much everyone for watching. I can assure you we won't have a repeat of that. I was pretty stunned myself with what went down. And you know what? I'll change it on the stream for you. That's not the one, is it? It's rules and flags. I'll change it on the stream for you. I'm sorry. That was my fault. At least I can hold my hands up and say that. There you go. That's it. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. And we'll see you next week.